Right, okay, welcome back to another video on the channel. We are back. The Premier League is back underway for another year of football. Cannot wait. This season's going to be absolutely unbelievable. I've just got a feeling it's going to be an incredible season. But you know what it means? If the season's starting, it's that time of year. You've got to get the predictions in, got to get them done. The full table, all 20 teams. The predictions there, they've been hard this year. They've been hard. And there's a bracket from about 20 to 14th, maybe could be anywhere. 13th to about like 5 could possibly. There's so many like ways you can change them about. I mean, this year it's been a really hard year to predict. There's so much what can change about. But I'm pretty happy with what I've got together. Relatively confident. So I just can't wait for this season. It's been an absolutely unbelievable season, I think. Looking forward to it. So yeah, let's get into it. Starting off with the relegation zone then, and last 20th place. Going straight back down, I've got the Championship champions. I've gone with Leeds in 20th. I mean, look, some signings have done a bit of business, but I'm just not convinced. You know, it's an all right squad. It just doesn't excite me at all, really. I just think I just think distinctly average. I mean, obviously, recently just brought in Dominic Calvert-Lewin on a free. It could work out. Just seem going straight back down. You know, I mean, there's quite a lot of people want Leeds to stay up, even if they don't like Leeds, because they are sort of a classic, sleeping giant almost in the English game. But I just don't think they've got what it takes. In all fairness, they have, out of all the players they have bought, there's a lot what I'm not too sure about. There's a few from Wolfsburg, Udinese, Lille. So there's a lot of young players as well. So a lot of I don't know about. Two I do know decent about is Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Sean Longstaff. But Longstaff's, it's decent. It's decent signing Sean Longstaff. But is it something that's going to keep you up? I'm not totally convinced. They've also, of course, got Daniel Farke as their manager. He's got Prem experience, but I can't see him lasting the season. I mean, he almost went at the end of last season after winning the Championship with an unbelievable year. They got 100 points. They were unbelievable. Did almost spoil it at one point, but they got over the line pretty comfortably in the end. And Daniel Farke almost got sacked then. I can't see him making it to the end of the Premier League season. Last place for Leeds. Next up in 19th, it's a team that became a bit of a staple of the Premier League in the last few years going down. I've got Wolves. Wolves in 19th. Don't get me wrong, I would quite like to Wolves to stay up. I don't mind them. I think Vitor Pereira is a really good manager. I mean, look how they ended last season. Once he came in, they were unbelievable. One of the better teams towards the end of last season. I don't think they can get away with what they've done in the window. I think once again they've got a pretty distinctly average squad. I mean, signing Strand Larsen on the permanent was massive. That's the only real positive I can find. I think just get rid of Nori and Cunha. Debatably their two best players. Yeah, I don't know. I can't see it. I can't see them staying up with that. Of course, the window's not done yet. They've got time to improve, but I'm not convinced with Wolves, to be honest with you. I think they've been a pretty main pick for a load of people to go down, and I just think they will stay. Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind them staying up, but I look at their squad, and I'm not too sure. So I think this is going to be Wolves' year to go down. I mean, they've had a very good run in the Premier League. This will be their 8th year, I believe, till they come up. I think 17-18 was their first season, weren't it? Or was it 17-18 they came up? So 7 or 8 years in the Premier League, a really good run. So they've got a really good manager, I think. I just think their time has came. I think they'll be going down. Next up, the last team to go down. It's another relegation. Another newly promoted team for me. Sorry, it's Burnley. I mean, I just really struggle to see where the goals are going to come from. Also, they have got Brower. They signed Sage Anthony on a permanent. They also brought in a right winger, if I'm not wrong. They brought in Marcus Edwards from Sporting, £8.4 million, formerly of Tottenham, Norwich. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's enough going forward for them at all. How solid can they keep it? Obviously, last year their championship success was based on being absolutely immense at the back. Only conceded 16 goals, I think it was, getting 100 points. Unbelievable at the back last year. And they have had a go in the transfer window, but they've mainly added to that defence. I mean, Kyle Walker, Twan Sabi were two notable signings they've made. Leslie Gachukwu as well in DM. Also, they've lost their keeper James Trafford, who's obviously a really good keeper, so that's going to be a massive loss. Replaced him with Dubravka, who's all right, but it's not. Is it staying up quality? I'm not sure. I mean, so yeah, they spent well, they've made a decent amount of signings, spent some decent money, but I just don't think it's enough, really. So I think Burnley are going to go back down. Obviously, Scott Parker's, well, he's got an incredible championship record, Scott Parker. His Premier League record is concerning. Will he last the whole season? I'm not totally convinced. I don't know. Depends how much they're willing to stand by him. So yeah, I think Burnley will be the last team going down this year. So it does mean we will get one newly promoted team staying up, in my opinion. I've got them in 17th at Sunderland. I mean, a good window. They're going into this and they're going to, go down with a fight if they're going down at all. I mean, look, Shaka, Adringa, Masoka, I think that's how you say it. Three, good players with Premier League experience. I think Shaka's a really, really good signing. They've also brought in players with international pedigree. Dyer from Strasbourg, who's played for Senegal a few times. They've got Enzo Lafay on a permanent, so I think that's really good. And they smashed the cash quite a lot. There's a lot of other signs, so I'm not clued up massively on about, but they've smashed the cash and they're having a go here. Sunderland, they really are having a go. Obviously, they lost Tom Watson, what we know we knew he was going to lose anyway to Brighton before he even scored that winner. And obviously Joe Bellingham as well. So they're two pretty key losses to say, but I like what they're doing. Like I say, they've smashed the cash, they're having a go, and so they get rewarded for staying up. I quite like Sunderland. It's a proper Premier League team. They think they deserve to be in the Premier League. So yeah, I'm going to say Sunderland stay up. 16th place for me is Brentford, and I'm not going to lie, when I was putting these predictions together, a lot of the time I had them going down. I only said they're going to survive in the last minute. I mean, they've had an absolute awful window. Flecken, me, Norgard, Mbemu, all out the window. Feast is about to go as well. He's looking for a move. Of course, they've lost Thomas Frank as manager as well. And I just think, that's the key one for me. Thomas Frank going. And, I think Keith Andrews is an uninspiring choice for me. Obviously, we know how Brentford works. They're very tactical, very logical, very statistical with the way they sign and appoint. Not as good as Brighton, but similar to Brighton in a way. So maybe Keith Andrews has got what it takes. But for me, that's not a great choice. Will he last the season? I'm not sure. Brentford do tend to stick by their managers. Stuck by Thomas Frank. There's once upon a time a few calls for him to be sat there stuck by him, and it worked out a treat. But I've just the squad still isn't awful. There's some decent players in there, but it's all just a bit dire. I think they've lost too much quality. So I'm not sure about Keith Andrews. I won't lie. I think that's a large bit of everyone's concern. Signing wise, with Keller's a really good signing guy. I think that is probably, I've said they lost Flecken, but I think that is an upgrade on Flecken, if I'm totally honest. And also Jordan Henderson's decent. Is he a bit past it? I don't know. So it's almost like a bit like Keith Andrews to me. It's just a bit uninspiring, Jordan Henderson. But you never know, that experience in the middle that could help him. Overall though, it's a bit of a stinker of a window for Brentford. Next up is another team. They should be in trouble. It's West Ham. It's just constantly seems to be a bit depressing down there. Also, they won the Conference League, and it sort of seems like they've just returned back to the old depressing lower mid-table at best West Ham. Todibo on a permanent, it's decent, but Hermansen, Callum Wilson, and Kyle Walker-Peters. It's the mid-table best. Callum Wilson was also a great striker on his day. But he's past it. He's past it. Hermansen from Leicester in goal. Not bad. It's not bad. It's not. It's not an unbelievable move. Kyle Walker-Peters. Once again, he's decent. He's a decent player. But sorry, I'm not sure on that. I just think being pretty average at best signings. So they were that young Celtic striker and that Diop from Prague I don't know much about. But Potter seriously needs to pick it up. It could very easily get toxic fast there. We know what it can be like at West Ham, if they don't have a good start to the season, or if they continue how they left off last year with Potter, it could get very toxic fast, and it could crumble quickly. Obviously they've got they've lost a lot of experienced players. They've lost a lot of players who've been at West Ham for years, or been in the Premier League for years, and of course they've lost one of the star man in Mohamed Kudus as well to Tottenham as well. They're worst rivals. So it's not been a great window. Let's be honest. I think what they have got left in the squad, I think it's good enough to stay in the Premier League. I don't think it's been an exciting season for them. Next up, 14th place, I've got Bournemouth. They've not gone crazy on the signings. Obviously, their defence has been absolutely ravaged. They've lost all their key in defence. I mean, you name them, they're gone. So they've had to bring in Petrovic to replace Kepa. Diakite and Truffert from Liga. Well, I don't know. Yeah, they're two young defenders. Also, replace like some Hulge and Kirkes. The other one's gone to PSG. I say their defence has been absolutely torn apart, and it looks weak now. You look at what defenders they've got left; it looks weak. It's really not to level what they had before. They have still got Areola, who's not really been approached or attracted from any other clubs. What's surprising is I think he's a really good manager, and that's massive. Keeping Areola is massive. And they've still got a very, very good attack as well, Bournemouth. So, I think they'll be comfortable. I don't think they'll be worrying about relegation. So defensive a bit concerned. I do like Petric and Gar. I think that's an upgrade on Kepa. But so apart from that, defence a bit concerning. But I think they'll be comfortable in the end. Just a bit of a nothing mid-table season. So they've got a really good attack. So that can definitely carry them through. They've got a great manager as well. So 14th for me, Bournemouth. Fulham 13th. And it's what I think the same. I think they're going to be comfortable this year. If anything, I don't think they'll finish any lower than 13th. I think they could finish higher than 13th. They've not done anything of note in the transfer window. Still got Marcus Silva, what's good. It's a decent squad, some stars. Overall, squad-wise, it is, it's pretty mid-table. Maybe a slightly concerning attack. Obviously, Raheem and Stig, we had a better season last year than we've had for a few years. But, it's good to see as a football fan. You're happy to see it. Yeah, I'd say they're pretty mid-table with a few good stars in there. Next up is Crystal Palace. This could be an interesting one. Also got them in at 12th. Well, I mean, they seem to finish every year, so it's a pretty safe prediction. Obviously, the FA Cup and Community Shield winners. I think they'll struggle with the European workload. Pretty simple. So in the Conference League, not what they would like to be, deserve to win the Europa League. I think they have been robbed there slightly, but I think they'll struggle. No matter what European competition is, I think they'll struggle with the workload. They've not really added depth. They've not lost anyone key yet, but it's Emerson yet because both Mark Gay and Eze could both leave. That's a massive concern. If they lose them two, then God knows where they could end up. I think obviously, I don't know. No matter what, they'll be safe with relegation, obviously, but they'll probably be a bit lower. I just think not crazy depth, not added a load. They've got a decent squad. They've got a really good manager, Oliver Glasner. How he instantly changed them when he came into them a few years ago, and now obviously last season winning the FA Cup, winning the Community Shield. So yeah, I think they'll be fine. Just comfortably in the table as Crystal Palace tend to do, and I hope maybe they'll have a good run in the Conference League. I guess wait and see. Next up then. Next up in 11th, so the last one outside the top 10, I've got Nottingham Forest. I mean, business has been average at best. I guess the main positive was keeping Morgan Gibbs-White somehow. I mean, how did Marquinhos keep him? Obviously, the whole Tottenham thing was Tottenham's approach legal, was it not? Who knows? But somehow they've managed to keep Morgan Gibbs-White. It's impressive the way they managed to keep him. I don't know what they did, but no Americans. It could have been literally anything. I've lost Lando concerning. I think Europe is going to weigh down them, and they've just fell off massively towards the end of last year, and I think that'll continue. So I think this year could be a bit of a nightmare. 11th might end up being an all right result for them. I don't know. I just don't think it's that positive. I just think they'll be incredibly average. Obviously, having to play the extra load of games in Europe, I think that's going to knock them a lot. And I just think, they'll be a good team on the day, but they're going to struggle to get anywhere near where they did last season. I've got Nottingham Forest in 11th. So breaking into the top 10, then I've got Brighton. And they're just reliable, aren't they? They're just a reliable team. João Pedro is obviously a loss for them. They've replaced him with an 18-year-old Ostulas, I think, for 29.8 mil from Greece. So maybe lacking a bit going forward. And I'd be lying if I say I know much about who else they've signed, to be honest. I don't really know much about any of them. But so they might strengthen the defence was key with that Boscagli from PSV, who's obviously won back-to-back titles for PSV. They do need an upgrade in defence, so potentially he could be that. But so, they're just a pretty reliable team. Based on teams around him, I think Hemp pretty reasonable, decent squad. They'll probably bring for a few youngsters at some point who end up being unbelievable. He's got players like Danny Welbeck still doing it. I think he's 35, 36, maybe 37 now, Danny Welbeck. He's still performing, still doing good. So, yeah, Brighton, I think they could probably push for higher than 10th. I think that's what they're going to be looking at. Everton, Everton's one. I'm really excited to see. I mean, Moy did a cracking job last year, coming in, turned it around there. So really cracking job, and put some smashing business on top. I mean, Jack Grealish on loan, really, really stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing him if he can really ignite his old form like Aston Villa days. They're in for a treat there. Kieran Dewsbury Hall as well, I think, is a really good move. He was, Kieran Dewsbury was decent for us last year. He always worked his socks off. So I think Kieran Dewsbury was a really good move. They're adding to a good squad. New era at the new stadium. Yeah, I think vibes will be up at Everton. I think they're going to have a good year. Ninth place, really solid for them, I think. I think it's been a really good year for Everton this year. I can't see why not. If they're linked to Tyler Dibling as well, it could be massive. They get Tyler Dibling. I mean, that attack would be great. You're adding Tyler Dibling to Njai, to Grealish. It's all positive at Everton for me. It's new owners as well. So yeah, I'm expecting a good season for Everton. Next up, 8th place, so we're bordering on the European spots now. It probably will be a European spot, I guess, the Conference League. And how the English teams perform in Europe. I've got Aston Villa. I mean, they've not really improved signs-wise. They've not really done anything. They've held on to Emi Martinez and Morgan Rogers so far, so that's a massive positive. Eighth might end up being a bit low, so they're playing, it's not their first season in Europe, so they're sort of used to that workload by now. They could easily go higher here, Aston Villa, say. I think holding on to them two is very, very key. They've still got Ollie Watkins, whether they sort of wanted him or not. Some rumours them trying to sell him, but they've still got him. I think he's going to be key, because he'd be their main striker, I reckon. So yeah, Aston Villa, might end up being a bit low, in all fairness to them. So I think, decent. So they've not really improved, that's it. They've not really improved. They're very much going in the same outfit. So there has been a bit of improvement around them. Teams around them have made signings. So we'll wait and see. Obviously, the window's not done yet, and so they still could lose Rodgers and stuff like that as well. So we'll have to wait and see. Next up, Man United. I don't know what's going on with Man United. Somehow they've folded out the money. I mean, after losing that Europa League final against Tottenham, that was going to be their last chance to get any good money for the window. They sacked 400 people. I mean, they were meant to be in a desperate financial situation, and all of a sudden they signed Seska, they signed Mbeumo, they signed Cunha. They could sign Baleba, would be massive. So they haven't sold anyone either. They've not got rid of anyone. I don't know where they've got the money from. I don't know how, but they've done it somehow. That attack, decent. I mean, there's 3 decent players. I don't think they're going to be consistent enough. If I'm totally honest, Seska's still a young player. There's a good player there, but I don't think he's consistent enough to get them much higher. Mbeumo, decent player. Same Cunha. I think that's 3 decent players. I just don't know how consistent they'll be, but it's an improvement on the attack. So Baleba will be massive. If they sign Baleba, that'd be key. They've not got anyone as an upgrade on what could be seen as a good thing, but they're still that they would hang on to the team or they need to get rid of ideally. So yeah, it's a weird window. It's 50-50. Yeah, I mean, I think the pressures are going to be on Ruben Amorim. I do, because they've spent a lot of money. They could still spend more money, and they've got no Europe to worry about. So they're going to have less workload than other teams. And obviously, he's got to make this system work. He has to make it work. He has to do it. He's not going to have much time to play with. If we get halfway through the season and they're still playing how we did last year, will he even be there still? That's the question. So there's a lot of pressure on Ruben Amorim to turn up and impress and get this team playing some good football. So I think pressure on. Can he rise to challenge? I guess we'll wait and see. So he's definitely spent them, splashed the cash. So he's running out of excuses, isn't he? Newcastle. I mean, it's a bit of a window from hell. Maybe not as bad as some people are making out. I mean, Isaac stuff is very concerning, obviously. Very concerning. But they have still got a great squad. They're back to the Champions League as well. I think they're right in the vibe trap, obviously. Isaac aside, we'll have to wait and see, if Isaac's not going to play for them, whether that's because they've sold him or he's just refusing, then that does leave a hole up top. It does. But apart from that, I think overall their midfield's great. They've strengthened with wings, bringing players like Alanga. So, out wide, they've got good options. Their defence, pretty solid. Their midfield, so really, really good midfield. So I think they've still got a really good squad. So back in the Champions League games, I think it's going to help bring up the vibes. It's just that Isaac stuff is incredibly concerning right now, and their options up top. Next up, then fifth place, I've got Tottenham. I mean, I think it's Tottenham. You take it, don't you? I think if you're Tottenham, you definitely take fifth place. I don't think they're anywhere near the top four. If I'm totally honest in quality, I think Thomas Frank will be good. Um, Business is, it's alright. It's decent. Locked down Tell and Danzo permanently. Kudos and Polina, I do really like. I think they're two good signings. Lost a bit of their wood, like Son, who wasn't really cutting it anymore. Let's be honest, Hoiberg. The key for them is we keep the players fit, and not having the injury problems they did last year. Will the new playing style of Thomas Frank do that? Possibly. I think they looked, obviously the other night bottled it against PSG in Super Cup. Tottenham Heritage, of course, they were going to bottle it at some point. Against the PSG, so we'll only be back less than a week. They did look really good to start. If you can turn up like that, like they did, the first hour or 70 minutes of that game, then they're going to be a good side this year, Tottenham. But yeah, I don't know. I think they'll be all right. I think they're nowhere in the top four for me. They could easily be in the eighth or ninth spot, but I'm just backing Thomas Frank to score them at the back. So then the top four. I think it's pretty unanimous between everyone who the top four is going to be. It's just what way you want to have them round. In fourth place, I've got Man City. I just got a feeling they'll be their standards average. There's some interesting moves this window. Reinders, I look forward to seeing what he's like. I think Cherky may take a bit of time. Norin, it'll be alright, it'll be decent. Will he start? I'm not totally sure. I think Guardiola's probably better than him, so I'm not sure on that. It's still Man City. You look at the squad, you look at who they've got on that squad. From Haaland and Mamouche up front, the players they've got in the midfield defence, players like Guardiola in the defence. It's a ridiculously good squad. They could go away and they could just blow the league, maybe. But I don't know, I just don't see it. I think throughout last season and even the Club World Cup in the summer, they just struggled to kick on. They put in a few really good, impressive performances or get a few really good, impressive results, but they just struggle to kick on and do it consistently and get a run of results or really good performances going. I've just got a feeling that might continue for them this year. So I just see them being fair standards average. So still pretty comfortable in the top four, comfortably better than everyone else. And so don't get me wrong, they could easily go, push for the title, possibly win it. The squad's easily good enough to. I've just got a weird feeling they're going to have that, struggle, just that struggle to keep going and going and going. The last few years, what Man City have been so notorious for is even when they're dropping down, to have that big run of games where you just know at some point they're going to have that run of 15, 20 games where they're just going to win. They're going to catch up and they're going to win the title. Based off last season, based off the Club World Cup, I just don't know if this City team's got that. So, yeah, I don't know. So it's a good squad, still a really good squad, but I don't know. I've just got a feeling. Next up, third place, I've got Arsenal. Maybe slightly controversially. I think Gyökeres is obviously an unbelievable signing. I think with the chances he's going to get, he could easily deliver 20 goals a season. And that could be all they need to win the title. That extra 20 goals on top could be all they need to win the title. The midfield has been upgraded, but is it really title-worthy midfield? I'm not totally sure, if I'm totally honest. And I just think, apart from that, their business has been a bit average. I think the pressure's on at Arsenal. I can see them. What I can see happening with Arsenal is, I think they'll be up there. They'll be pushing for the title. I could just see them imploding towards the end of the season. I could just see them having a complete implosion. Totally convinced. I'd say the midfield, it's decent, but it's not. It doesn't stand out as one of the better midfields. It's been pretty well documented the last few seasons. What they really need is a player like Gyökeres. I think he can go on and score at least 20 goals a season. I think they definitely made enough chances last season for a player like Kim to score that amount of goals. But I still think there's other holes in their team that haven't really addressed. So I just think with the pressure on, I can just see them imploding towards the end. And that means the second place, I've got us. I don't think we're going to win the title. I like the vibes. It's probably the most optimistic, most comfortable I felt going into a season in ages. I'm really happy with where we are. We're not ready to fight for a title. I'm pretty happy and comfortable with that. I'm not expecting us to go fight for a title. I think, when Arsenal implode, I think we'll clip them later on and just nick second. And I'd be pretty happy with that. I think we definitely should be finishing outside top four. If we finish outside top four, that would be disappointing. Anywhere else on the top four, be fairly happy with that. That's the expectation, isn't it? Just get the top four. third or second be a really good season, I think. And so I just think overall it was quite positive. I think we've still got holes in our team that we need to address. It's a big season. Like can Robert Sanchez turn up and play well the whole season? That's going to be key. Obviously, had a really good end to the Club World Cup, but can he extend that consistently into the Premier League? We'll have to wait and see. Defensively, Levi Colwood just getting injured is concerning. But if we can get Wesley Fafana back and keep him fit, then we've obviously got the choice of Tosin or Chalobah. Not too bad. Enzo Maresca does want a centre back. He's made it clear he wants to sign a centre back, so maybe you can bring in a centre back of a decent level. But either way, we've got players like Hayter, I really like. He's good. Obviously, Cucurella is unbelievable. We've got one of the best midfielders in the league. Enzo Fernandez, incredible. Moises Caicedo, immense. Romeo Lavia, when fit, unbelievable. Sugo looked really good in pre-season, and obviously going forward, we've got players like Cole Palmer was unbelievable. Esteval looked really good in pre-season. Neto's been really good as of recent. Yeah, look, really obviously the two new strikers, Delap and João Pedro, looked really, really good. So I just like the vibes with what we're on right now. It's most comfortable I felt going into the season in a while, so that's a really nice feeling. And I just think everything's really positive. Just hope we can keep it up, really. And that does leave one. Then I've got Liverpool going back-to-back Premier League champions. They absolutely cruised the league last year. They did struggle last 2 months. Last 2 months of last season, they were probably not poor, but they weren't great, were they? They dropped off massively. But was that just because they were on the beach already? They knew they had won it, or was that deeper means what we could see going into the season? I'm not too sure. I think it's more likely just because they were on the beach, really. And even if it was bigger issues, they've made really, really good business. Kirkers, Frimpong, Wirtz, Ekitike, them four headline signings really good. Will they get Alexander Isak and Gueye on top? And they want both of them. Will they get them? If they get them two, then they're going to be unstoppable, I think. There is a bit of concern by some Liverpool fans that they've made too much change. It's going to be too much to adapt to. I don't think so. I think they've got a lot of good players. We'll see. So some of those players like Frimpong, Wirtz, Ekitike, they aren't Premier League proven, so it might take a bit of time to adapt to the league. It is fairly possible. They've got a good squad. They're good enough to win the title again. Let's be honest. I just think they will. I just think overall, I think they've got the best squad. They've made other signings for them as well. They've got the best squad. They've got, I think, Arne's clearly a great manager. Clearly very well liked. I don't think the departures they'll have will hit them that hard. I think they'll be. I think they'll be really comfortable with that. I just can't really see them being topped. It might not be as close as last season. Oh, sorry, it might be closer than last season, what I meant to say. But I just can't see them being topped, really. Yeah, that is it. So that is my final Premier League predictions for 2025-2026 season. I'd love to hear what you think of them. So it's been an interesting season to predict. It's going to be a great season. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a close one, but yeah. Thanks for watching.